You are a retard.
I just exploded. Dissector, you are an idiot.
Hey, Ryan, why don't you pull up Amazon's margins real quick?
Well, yeah, I'd have more of a grin on my face than Stephen Hawking on Epstein's Island.
I'm off as a smug cock when you said that.
Wow, fiscal philosophy, you're not very smart at all. You screw up, cash flow kings. Dissector, you are an idiot.
Hello, everybody. It's Saturday, and it's 8 p.m. Eastern. And on Saturday, 8 p.m. Eastern, you could be doing a wheel spin of activities, whether those be the good or the bad activities. Those are for only one man and one man to judge. And if you're atheist, then nobody can judge what you do on a Saturday, 8 p.m. Eastern. But welcome back, Fiscal.
Oh, welcome.
What are some of the things you could be doing on Saturday, 8 p.m. Eastern?
Well,
see Alan's comment here to make things weird, as per usual every week.
You could make things weird, yeah. So, I mean, there's gambling, okay? There's sports betting as a subcategory of gambling. There's going out to Figueroa and picking up some of the ladies walking the streets. I hear that's a big thing in LA, big problem they got over there. Yeah. It's a good way to get crabs, if you know what I mean.
Support your underground economy, one could say.
Yeah, and I don't mean a fine dining experience, ladies and gentlemen. Mm-hmm. Also, you could be out at the bar singing awful karaoke, getting wasted on overpriced rail liquor.
Some Christmas tunes, perhaps. You could be singing "Here Comes Santa Claus" or "Santa Baby" with the dirty version.
Ugh. Yeah, all in the hopes of picking up a beer goggled, 4 out of 10 that turns into a 2 out of 10 the next morning. I
know,
like it's just not worth it when you could just be here every Saturday, 8 p.m. Eastern, not doing any of those things.
Everything's better 2 times better under the influence. That's my rule that I've made, and for some people, it depends what your influence is. For me, maybe it's a Starbucks coffee. Like, I'm not even lying, guys. Like, sometimes I'll get a Starbucks on me, and I'm very close to making a I don't want to say a rational decision, but jumping the gun on some stuff. And sometimes it's worked, and sometimes it's not. I was very close to buying Uber this week, but the coffee high wore off, and I'm gonna wait till next week because we have an Aria on, and perhaps another guest or two. So that'll be a fun episode for sure. We're gonna discuss Uber, the Uber intervention episode. We're gonna call it episode 63.
Well, I'm even considering Uber at these prices, just so you know.
It could be a fun play.
I mean, I'm already invested in a company that's very closely aligned with them, we'll say. So I believe in the business model.
And yes, guys, it is true. If I don't sound that good, I am sick once again. We are currently taking betting wagers of what got me sick. Multitude of options. More likely than not, it was somebody at school. Ryan has not been at school a whole lot recently, though. So, that might be one of your bigger gambles, you want to say.
Don't lie. It's one of your girls that got you sick.
WWE does have a pretty big event coming up next month, and John Cena is going to be there. And as John Cena would say, you can't see me. So that's all I'm going to leave the comment there with. But we do want to eventually. Seymour Duck has got he's got this ridiculous blackjack run going on the Evolution Games casino, if you haven't seen already. It's like ridiculous. Like he's 5 and 10xing his money. So I think it would be a fun idea if we perhaps did a members only gambling stream where we watch him and give him some non-legal advice on what he should be doing on his blackjack hands.
Okay. All right.
But on the topic of channel members, we want to take a moment to appreciate all of our channel members because truly the Cash Flow Kings we're pretty soon we're going to be a high expense business. We got to figure out what we're doing about StreamYard coming up in March. Guys, if you think these YouTube TV increases are crazy, you should see StreamYard. Let's just say the Cash Flow Kings may be going back to the basics for a little bit.
I don't think I'll let that happen.
It's a lot right now. I'll be honest.
I don't know.
We locked in a good price, but it
depends how my bonus looks in February. Okay.
Once again, everybody, Fiscal is the official sugar daddy of the Cash Flow Kings. But thank you to all of our channel members: Double D's, Dividend Dude, Andrew Money Marshall, Greg King, RM3 Trades, Dividend Dog, Bacon, Seymour Duck, our favorite degenerate, and Alex Cantalupo, our favorite Cash Flow Kings channel members. If you do want to become a channel member, we're trying to grow it. Once we get to around 15 members, we're actually going to start doing like more live, members only live shows or whatever. We're not going to go live for an hour or two and talk, for 8 people. It's about, supply and demand. We do get a lot of viewers on Twitter/X as well. But yeah, become a channel member, $2 a month, some of the best benefits you could possibly ask for. You give us $2 every month. It's $2 you could be spending on some very bad things. You could be paying your friends for a hit of their vape. You could be buying a hooker, as we've reported multiple times maybe perhaps you could be putting that money towards some of the questionable pantyhose dispensary boxes.
Since you brought up hookers, I think it's just time for that comment.
Yeah, it's gonna be yeah. I mean, yeah, you look at the definition, there is definitely some monetary benefit.
There's just some overlap. Venn diagram, you could definitely make some connections.
You wonder though if Khmer lives by his principles, though. No sexual behaviors. For him though, what do you consider that? I feel like if a kiss on the forehead for Khmer is like having a 3-way.
He probably gets bricked from that, huh?
Yeah. You see him.
I just exploded.
I just exploded.
Yeah. Boy. Oh boy.
Yeah, what an interesting situation there. But
yeah.
Today we have a fun episode. It's been one I have been heavily looking forward to for a while, and I'm actually pretty hyped up this morning because I was looking at the portfolio, and we are going to be revealing all of our positions in the portfolio because we've not done a weekly recap in like 3 months because we haven't bought really much. I've just been indexing and he hasn't bought anything. So, I mean,
there's definitely some changes from from what I used to hold. So
if you're watching the shows regularly, you know those changes.
Yeah. But yeah, I'd say what I'm in now is vastly different from what I was in even just 1 year ago, and it's mostly been good changes. So
yeah, it's fun times on the Cash Flow King. So Fiscal, I think we're gonna do a little bit of this in a fun way to determine who goes first. We're going to be playing online blackjack, best of 3 hands. Now, Fiscal, do you want to be the dealer all right? So this how it's gonna work essentially is either you're the dealer or you're the player. And essentially, if player wins best 2 out of the 3, then you get to go first, or you can defer. I mean, it's like a coin toss essentially.
Okay. I'll be the player.
You'll be the player. Okay, I'm pulling it up right now. Hopefully, we don't get completely demonetized for this. I got to.
It's not for real money, right?
So yeah, it's not for real money yet. That would be fun though. Okay, we'll pull it up. So you're the dealer, you're the player. So I'm the dealer. I need you to bust. We're gonna play by simple blackjack rules. We stay on. I'm pretty sure I know the book. All right, we'll $10 theoretically. Okay. Ooh. So you have a 10 here. You're gonna. Oh, okay. So wait,
I've got a 20.
I gotta see who. Okay, we have the 20, right? No, we have the. I'm so confused.
I have the 20. The dealer's the one that has the card that's not revealed.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm gonna stand.
You're gonna stand. Oh, I win. Oh,
Rigged.
oh, thank you. This is why you don't play. This is why you don't theoretically gamble. All right, I'm up 1-0. All right, you have a 12. Are you gonna hit or stand on a 4?
I'll hit.
Oh, okay. Oh,
All right,
19.
now I'll stand.
There you go. 1-1. This determines it all, everybody. Oh, 19 versus a
son
10.
of a gun. I'll stand.
You got to. Oh, and you get to go first. Oh no. What?
All right.
See, you could have just won an easy like 20 bucks right there.
Yeah.
Oh,
Maybe.
by the way, Blake, I had my final presentation on Thursday for my management class. As I mentioned, I was doing High Tide. It's essentially just you got to research a business and find a couple times that they've had to overcome, adversity. Went pretty good. So thank you, and shout out to Blake. I still got to send that over to him. I got to download it from Word. But Fiscal, we will start off with your portfolio. The format that this works, you have to go over every holding, share how much you're up or down, share your thesis on it, why you bought it, the role you want to have. You get it, the general stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. So, I'll
always start from lowest market value.
Yeah. I'll start from lowest to the top. So, the Parks of America thing down there is just this random thing I bought as like kind of a gamble based on something I heard was going to happen with it. And the price basically just hasn't moved. I mean, you can see my total gain loss on the far right there. $2.95. So basically nothing's happened with that.
Nobody likes a bragger. Okay. Nobody likes a bragger.
And I don't know if anything ever will, but it does trade over the counter. So there's like extra fees associated with buying or selling it, which is the only reason I've kept it, because, it's like basically not even worth it for me to sell it unless something happens and it goes up a lot. Yeah. So there you go.
So what's the business even? What is it?
They own like basically 3 sort of theme parks in North America in like 3 different states. It's kind of like, I was on their investor relations site back when I first bought it, and they're like nature themed. So they've got like animals and stuff like that. Yeah. I think they've got like giraffes and lions and shit like that. And I know like the stock was down a bunch because like a hurricane like made one of the parks shut down for a few months for repairs or something. And
you better hope that it wasn't the same like enclosure that Harambe was in. That would have definitely tanked
No. It's not. They're not zoos. They're parks. Like they're.
Okay, that's good.
They like. I think they're like safari themed or something like that. But either way, it's just one of those things. It's like kind of again like a bit of a gamble. I don't know if it's ever actually going to go anywhere, but it seemed interesting and I didn't risk much money on it. So if it doubles or triples, it's not going to be life-changing or anything, but it'll be a fun little boost of cash. So that's kind of how I'm looking at that one. Now, Vale is the largest producer of iron ore and nickel in the world. They're a Brazilian stock. And I think the reason they're down right now is because of currency issues with Brazil. Like the Brazilian currency is weak to the dollar right now.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and anytime you deal with non-US based companies, how their currency trades against the dollar can impact stock prices in a lot of cases. And I think Vale is getting hit by that right now. And I don't think iron ore is high enough to like kind of offset it. If iron ore was really booming, then that would offset that by a lot. but I think iron ore is kind of just meh right now. Commodities have, I think, come down a lot since COVID, if I'm understanding right, and including things like lumber and stuff like that. So I'm imagining it's a similar thing there with iron ore, but they're trading at a super low multiple of earnings. They spit out excess cash in the form of dividends twice a year, and they do aggressive buybacks. So,
Bullish.
And they produce a basic material that's necessary for much of the infrastructure and everything that we rely on for a modern world to function. So, I generally like it. I'm not really, and it's a very small position. I have actually been considering adding to it because of the, the drop in price and everything and how attractive the valuation is. Just haven't really yet. Now we're actually moving up to some things where there's some real money. Bank.
You can buy a lot of channel memberships with $900 fiscal.
That is true. That is
It's
true.
like 450 months worth of channel memberships.
That is true. So we've got Bank of America, which it's going to be gone probably in January because I actually have a sold covered call at $42. So unless the stock drops below that price, it's going to be gone. And even if it does drop to like $42 and I don't get them called away, I'm probably selling it anyway just because banks are bleh. I don't really like them as much anymore.
When there's high tide,
I think Bank of America is one that I bought because the price dropped a lot and I knew that like Warren Buffett had a lot of it. And so I was like, oh, that's probably a good idea.
Value.
Yeah, right. But I don't think I really thought about it too much more. And I think they were maybe a little bit below book value at the time. And I was like, okay, why not? And I mean, it's up a good amount and I've collected a lot of dividends on it. So, it's been okay. I'm not going to complain.
Mm-hmm.
Next up, we have good old Paramount.
Ooh.
Yeah. I'm not down as much as I used to be. I've collected a few dividends along the way, of course, and some options premiums on it. They have a merger coming in 2025, and it's supposed to be a value-added situation, but they did turn down a lot of offers for complete buyouts that I think were more attractive for the Class B shareholders in favor of something that was better for Sherry Redstone, who owns the majority of the voting shares. So there you go.
Ashley woman, so bad.
But I do think Paramount will probably come back up to, the mid-teens, $15, $16 at some point. And, I'll either sell it or sell covered calls against it or something when it gets there. Or I might like sell a part of it and like see if the other half runs with I believe it's David Ellison is going to be running it. He's, I believe, Larry Ellison's son, or I might have the names reversed. But the founder of Oracle's son is going to be in charge of the new merged entity. Yeah. No.
And he appears.
The software company Oracle, not the Oracle.
Yeah,
Yeah.
The other Oracle.
Yeah, the other Oracle. Now I have of course 60 shares of Disney. I'm considering now that it's dipped a little bit, maybe adding to it again.
$100 seems, I think that's a fun play.
Well, I have a cost basis that's a good chunk below 100. Yeah. And if I bought 40 more shares, my total, like I'd be averaging up, but I still think what's to keep Disney from getting back into the 120s or even higher, as Disney Plus is now profitable, right?
Yeah. Hey, I'm telling you, Disney Plus's catalog has got a lot better too. That merger that they had with Hulu, it's from a consumer perspective, I definitely noticed it because I put on Disney Plus and I'm not. There's actually some good choices. They got Christmas Vacation on there now. They got Elf. I'm happy.
So Hulu is an interesting thing. So what it was is Disney owned about 66% and Comcast owned 33%. It was a joint venture, and Comcast and Disney like kind of mutually decided that Disney would just buy out their third. Yeah. Comcast shareholders got an injection of cash. Disney got to basically increased their market share in streaming by quite a lot. And maybe that's a good thing. Obviously, they've been positive in terms of profitability on the streaming in the most recent quarter, from what I remember. Which that was a big to do for them, right? Is to turn streaming into an actual profitable enterprise. And I think they're only the second company to do that behind Netflix, if I'm not mistaken. Is that? I mean, anybody feel?
Yeah, I think so.
I mean,
maybe there's like a hidden one in there, but it doesn't really count like from big players, I'd say so.
Right. So yeah, that's a pretty big deal. Now, the one thing I don't like is, obviously, I think there's a little bit of like overlap between Disney and Paramount. Like, do I need both of them? Which is why I think after the merger, if Paramount has a price recovery, I'd probably just more or less exit it if I still have Disney. I don't think I need both, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because there's so much overlap in their businesses. Though Disney is, I think, unique with their parks and experiences and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think Disney has probably one of the best moats out of any of the companies, at least in this portfolio.
Disney's going to take over the world.
Yeah. I think they're pretty strong. They've been around. They've been around for 100 years, and they'll probably be around 100 more long after even you or I are gone.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
The
That's a good one.
That's will live on, though. We'll find some new hosts for it.
Disney's one of them generational wealth stocks. Now,
yeah.
Next up, we have the controversial Baba.
Oh,
yeah.
China. We don't like China, and China doesn't like us.
Yeah. So the Baba is one of the most volatile stocks I have. There are days where it goes up like 7-8%, goes down 4 or 5%. It just up and down every single day by a considerable amount. Definitely seems like it jumps around a lot more than a lot of the other stocks in here. And I think it is essentially the Chinese Amazon. So I definitely think that China is the second largest economy, that their version of one of our biggest companies is probably going to prosper in the long run. And they aggressively do buybacks. They pay a dividend now. So they're returning cash to shareholders. And I think, just the stock is pretty attractively valued.
Is Jack Ma still involved with them? I don't pay much attention to.
Is who still involved?
Jack Ma.
He's still involved, but he's not the CEO.
Oh.
Yeah. In fact, like one of the times that the stock spiked up in the last few months was when there was some news that Jack Ma bought $50 million worth during a quarter.
Oh, we have an interesting comment from Cabo. He doesn't like the CCP.
Yeah, I mean, every time I make a video on Baba, I get that same comment. Like, I get it. I understand why the people who are against it are against it. It's just, I think it's going to give me a good return. But hey, I could be wrong. And if it goes back above like 100 again, I might just offload it because the volatility kind of annoys me. And I am a little bit tired of hearing about the CCP every time I talk about the stock. Next up, we have one that I used to get criticized for buying. But I don't hear the criticism too much anymore. It's PayPal.
Because it's up.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny how that goes.
I wonder why.
Yeah. Of course, my basis is below 60. The stock is above 90, so I'm up 50%. Whoop-de-doo. And I think, I mean, I'm definitely, I don't think it's like a super undervalued cigar butt style investing stock anymore. Mm-hmm. I think it was when it was in the 60s and briefly in the 50s. I think definitely if you were a cigar butt method, falling knives method investor.
Sometimes we've gotten away from that.
Yeah. Then if that was your style, then yeah, PayPal, I think, was a pretty easy pickup for you at that time. And that's why I picked up 100 shares. And I'm very happy with the fact that I have that in this portfolio. And I think their new CEO has been doing a pretty good job.
And they have Will Ferrell on ads.
Yeah. The Will Ferrell ad was pretty funny. You definitely see, like, sometimes when I'm just at different places out, like either drive-throughs or whatever, I'm seeing more and more places the like pay with PayPal option is like, you know how like they'll have like the credit cards they accept listed on their thing. I'm seeing like the PayPal at the point of sale.
We used
a lot more.
PayPal this week.
Yeah.
And by the way, shout out to It's All Good. She left a very generous $30 donation on my channel, which is nice because I could like directly get them the money because the Cash Flow Kings bank account is still in its infancy stages because not enough of you guys are channel members. But yeah, very generous donation to me, Fiscal, and our slave editor. Get back to work.
Yes, the money came directly to us. I can verify.
Yeah.
It was received, and we thank you very great. It was a nice Christmas, a nice stocking stuffer for Christmas.
Well said. Oh, and by the on the topic of investors who have such great sentiment over the long term, have you seen Dividend Dude versus the Palantir investors on Twitter, dude?
Oh, it's
the funniest
it's a
thing
Clash
ever.
of Titans. Anyways, I think we were on PayPal, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So, yeah, I like PayPal a lot. It was definitely a value play, and I'm content to have it as a hold here. I'm not really, since it's not in value territory anymore, I don't really think I need to buy more here. I'm going to chill.
Yeah.
Let the buybacks do their thing for me, and that's going to be it.
Yeah, we should have, when Dividend Dude comes on next, we should have him on to just trash Palantir the entire time and to get a ton of views from that, dude.
To be fair, the Palantir valuation is silly.
Oh,
it was silly when it was $30. It's
twice
as silly now.
It's getting 10x from here.
Yeah, it's still a 10x from here, guys.
Yeah.
Okay. Next up, this is one that we cover on the channel all the time. It's High Tide. Okay. I have 4,000 shares. My cost basis is like somewhere in the mid twos. I averaged up a little bit. Like I think I started buying it at like 210 or 215 or something, and just kept buying up until it hit maybe like 280 or so.
You still think it's worth averaging up though, even if you're not in it right now, like long term still?
I'm still like, now that I have some cash to play with, I am considering maybe adding more. Just because
I might go in there too.
It went, because it was like 340 or something recently, and then it just had this pullback to 319. I'm definitely still considering adding to it because it's still only like 13 times free cash flow, and their growth is strong and steady. Mom spaghetti.
Yeah.
And they're looking like they're going to be hitting Germany. I thought I saw something. I thought I saw something come out on the whole Germany expansion thing recently. I saw that on Twitter, so we might want to fact check it. But I do think that they're gonna move into Germany, and if they are able to get their licenses and stuff, they'll probably do there what they've done in Canada. And I think Germany is a bigger economy than Canada. Blake might know the answer to this, but I think Germany is the biggest economy in Europe and a bigger economy than Canada is.
Yeah.
So imagine them doing in Germany what they did in Canada, and that's an easy 2x.
I know.
Just
my professor said that.
In fact, they're almost a 2x just with what they can still do growing in just Canada.
Yeah.
And so if you add them doing the same thing in Germany, it's like a 4x, and that's on their financials, not on the stock price. And I think the stock price is a little bit undervalued to their current financials, let alone their future ones. So High Tide is very strong. And it's a small cap. It's a small cap, so
we love small caps.
It'll have a much easier time getting those really, really big rallies in share price as the financials improve.
Yeah.
Because there's just not a lot of float out there. You know, there's not. It's so easy to move the needle when it's 250, 300 million in market cap.
Hey, we literally made the stock go up because of our roundtable. By the way, don't forget we had like a 20% jump in the stock because of our roundtable. So
got the CFK.
Raj Grover, if you want to come on, thank us.
Mm-hmm.
No, my professor said that the kid after me did Costco, and obviously like, the business models are very similar.
Mm-hmm.
He was saying how there was like some certain like different stores that like go inside of the Costco's. He said that High Tide should go inside of Costco's. He said he asked me like if I thought that would be a good idea, and I'm like, I don't know if Costco would approve of it.
Yeah, that would be the issue, I think. I don't see Costco wanting to let a cannabis retailer inside the thing. I just don't think it's the image they're going for.
Yeah.
That's just me.
Okay, here we go. Blake with the fact check. 50. Oh. Germany something double the customer base of Canada, but the US is 15x.
Yeah. So Germany is so to my point, Germany is a bigger fish than it's a bigger pond rather. And High Tide's already the apex predator in the Canada pond. And if we believe they'd be the apex predator in the Germany pond as well, more like a lake since it's twice the size, right?
Yeah.
Then that's the big boost to the potential cash flow and share price going forward, I would think. So yeehaw, good times ahead for High Tide. Now, this stock is the poverty REIT known as Medical Properties Trust, the truest cigar butt ever, if there ever was one. Now, there hasn't been a whole lot happening like super recently with it, except for just crazy fluctuations in the share price. If I said Baba was volatile, well, MPW is extra volatile. Okay, not for the faint of heart. I don't recommend anybody that's not comfortable with wild swings get into that stock. But if you think that medical real estate is a potentially good investment and getting a extremely discounted entry into that is interesting, well, there you have the beautiful Medical Properties Trust, which is also 44% sold short. So you have the potential for a short squeeze. And you recently had the cost to borrow shares spike above 20%, which it went down the next day to like 5%. But it's interesting to see that happen because it sat at like 3% for like a year.
You are the MPW cult leader too.
Oh, yes. I'm the cult leader, by the way. Yeah, it's definitely still one of the more interesting holdings that I have there. And it has taken a lot of grit and patience to sit there with it, doing what it does. But hey, I'm not somebody that will emotionally like press the buy or the sell button. I don't fear missing out and I don't fear losses. So, granted, it does like slightly stress me out. I'm not going to lie when things are going crazy, but ultimately I don't have really that much fear over it. It's just
Joseph Carlson actually just entered the chat and he just said, why would you own that amount of MPW when you could just buy Costco at 58 times earnings? So
yeah. Right. Yeah. It's still 10x from here, guys. It's Costco. Yeah. I mean, honestly, I think MPW we're probably looking at some point when buyers start to feel comfortable coming back into it. Shorts may get out, and then you might see like a mini squeeze. I don't think this is the next GameStop. I want to make that clear. But you could see it get up to like $9 or $10 probably.
That'd be so funny if it had a GameStop short, like Roaring Kitty endorses it, and then we have like a documentary made on us on Netflix.
Yeah. I don't own enough of it.
Cash flow corrupt. They're going to interview the Oracle.
Yeah. They make the documentary on like the guys pumping it on the Yahoo message board, not me. But hey, I'm not really looking to unfortunately, I wish I still had room to add to it, but it's like I feel like I'm already got enough in it. It would be nice to be able to average down right now, but I also don't want to be like way overly allocated into just MPW. Yeah. So there you have it. I'm a holder at the moment, not a buyer though. My next stock, my number 3 biggest position currently, is British American tobacco. This is one of the things you could be consuming at 8 p.m. Eastern if you weren't here on the Cash Flow Kings live.
Do you want me to spoil something to you?
Sure.
I was considering swapping out my Altria for British American tobacco, and now you have to convince me.
Yeah, that's basically what I did with my Altria, right? I sold it and then bought BTI. I mean, I already had both, but I had much smaller amount of BTI, and I just rotated in and got filled out with just more BTI. The reason I like BTI better is, one, the valuation, like the multiple of free cash flow is half of what Altria trades at.
Okay.
So right now, I think we're around like, I want to say 5.5, 6 times free cash flow. And at the lows, and like when BTI was like $30, $31 a share, it was like 4.5 times free cash flow, right? Like that's pretty cheap, right? We agree 4.5 times free cash flow is cheap for a stable, high margin business. Okay, cool. I think it's still attractively valued here. And by the way, Altria, when BTI was at like 4.5 times free cash flow, Altria was at like 10 or 11 times free cash flow. And I'm sitting here saying, and when you look at the dividend metrics, because like they're both big dividend pairs, right?
Free money.
Right. They both rain free money down from the sky, of course. Altria pays out about 80% of their free cash flow or adjusted earnings in dividends. Okay.
Yeah.
And they do some buybacks and such too. But BTI only has a payout ratio of about 60%.
I'm seeing free cash flow payout ratio of 50 and earnings per share payout ratio of around 70.
So BTI's EPS is still a little wonky because there was a write down on US menthol brands that they sell because they were expecting a ban that hasn't happened. So I'm only looking at free cash flow.
Okay, that's 50%. That's fine.
Yeah.
I don't think that Ultra's dividends like unsustainable, but 50 is better than 80. That's for sure.
Yes, BTI has some room to grow, or
buybacks
they have
too?
cash left over for more aggressive buybacks.
I like this.
Yes, or if they can't use it all for buybacks, they can pay down debt, improve their balance sheet, that kind of thing. But these are all value added activities for shareholders, right?
Yeah.
So, I'm loving BTI for that reason. So there you go.
Is Fabio still in it?
I think Fabio's still in it. Yeah, I mean he had a $28 cost basis, so his yield on cost is ridiculous. He's in like 15% cheaper than I am or something like that. Cool. He really timed it well. Well, he seems to always time it well.
So question for you in the chat. You think that looking at some evaluation, it makes sense to sell BTI, put in Altria, put in BTI?
Sell MO, buy BTI.
I mean, I'm still getting like it serves the same role. I just think BTI would be cheaper.
Cabo agrees.
All right, we'll have a poll.
Yeah,
I mean, it's kind of like that. I'll show it, but it's like not even 1% of the. It's actually.
Nope. Seymour Duck agrees.
All right.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll add a little more to it because I don't know a whole ton of MO anymore.
Yeah.
You'll see it. You'll see it in the portfolio.
Yeah. Now he day traded it like 10 times since then.
Take man investor.
Yeah. So next we have my number 2 stock. Now it's crazy that this has become the number 2 holding here. Because remember, like MPW, which is now number 4, used to be number 1, but this just goes to show you how much this stock has gone up. Grab everybody's favorite rideshare app in
That's
Southeast
another.
Asia.
Yeah, that's an. I saw a guy we might have on the show next weekend. Huge. He's in a Grab too, so I think that would be a very.
That'd be a good show.
It would be a
Maybe
good
Grab
show.
could
But
get a
do
CFK
you
bump.
think Grab or Uber? You think if I were to buy one, you think? I feel like Uber.
So here's the thing with that dichotomy. It was easier at the time I bought Grab to choose Grab because they were so cheap.
Yeah.
And
Now it's up.
they were like right there on the cusp of turning like profitable on all their profitability metrics. And companies, when they go from like that negative 1 cent of net income to the like positive 1 cent of net income, like it seems to bring a lot of enthusiasm into the stock.
Mhm.
And I think that's why Grab is up so much.
Okay.
That being said, like Uber is down recently, but not necessarily cheap.
Yeah.
I mean they're cheaper than they have been, but it's a tougher choice now, is what I'll say. It's a tougher choice now.
Okay.
Now Uber does, I believe, now you would have to double check on this, but last I looked, Uber still owned like a percentage of Grab. Like they own a big chunk of
Okay.
equity in Grab.
Okay.
So technically speaking, if that's still the case, you'd be buying both by buying Uber. So there's that. But
14%.
What now? 14%?
14% according to AI.
There is a thing with Uber, which is their freight business. That the metrics on that, the profitability on it doesn't look good. To be honest, it's generally pretty ugly, and it's very capital heavy. Like they've poured billions into it and haven't really made anything. So I believe that Uber has this problem where sometimes their reach exceeds their grasp and they burn money and destroy shareholder value.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if they could somehow convince me, or
Aria.
I could, well, yeah. Now Grab does not have that, but Grab actually has something different that they have as like a sort of a complementary business. So they're going for super app status. So they have they're basically like an Uber plus SoFi more than an Uber plus freight business.
Okay.
So they've got food delivery, they've got, of course, rideshare, and they've also got like now like grocery where they'll, pick up your groceries and bring them to you or whatever. But they also are doing online banking now. And their deposits, they mentioned that they're able to drive deposits at a very low cost because of their existing brand recognition and customer base. And they are doing like some lending, and what they have expressed is that there's a ratio basically that companies that do lending have, that basically is the percentage of, it's basically like the rate of default on loans that they do. And in very poor countries where people are very underbanked, and there isn't like a FICO credit score system like what we have here, they're able to achieve basically like a 98% success rate or a 2% default rate. Now, in the US, it's more like 1% is what they're able to do. But they have said that like the 2% number is actually very good for where they're operating. So there's that. And hey, let's face it, like if they're doing banking, but like they don't have to pay for brick and mortar branches and stuff like that, it's pretty capital light in that sense. Like they don't have to pay for tellers and security at the like the actual physical locations or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's just something that they can add into their app basically. And if they're able to underwrite loans in a way that basically assesses risk accurately. Oh, and they mentioned that they're using large language models, aka AI, to help basically streamline lending decisions and be more accurate, and basically choose better with who they approve. And
How
stuff.
does the free cash flow look?
For Grab,
Yeah.
it's pretty strong. So with Grab, you actually, and people will yell about this, but you have to look at adjusted free cash flow, because it excludes deposits into the banking. Because if you include the deposits into the banking, that's not really operational cash that's coming in. It's money it's a liability, actually, technically, for them. So even though it's money that's coming in, it's not really cash flow. So they exclude that in their adjustment. So the adjusted free cash flow is actually lower than the just regular vanilla free cash flow for that reason. But the adjusted is what basically shows what they're actually bringing in operational positive cash flow. And I think I want to say it was 116 million or something like that.
Yeah,
which compared to their market cap, it's not that huge. But if you look at the growth rate on it, it's pretty good.
Yes.
And it's expected to obviously grow faster now that they're actually in profitability. Like any additional revenue they bring in, a lot of it just goes, to the bottom line after because they've driven down their fixed costs by quite a lot too. And I think they're working on cutting down on share-based compensation as well, so their net income will be better as well.
Yeah.
So, also their earnings calls, I think they spent like 3 or 4 minutes on prepared remarks, and then 45 minutes for analyst questions. They literally just question after question after question. And so when you hear that versus some other companies where they kind of just let like 3 or 4 analysts ask a question at the end, it's kind of interesting how they do it differently. So do we want to go to the Big Daddy now?
I think we have to.
All right. So the Big Daddy of them all, the Papucho, is of course none other than Daddy Warbucks Bezos, Amazon. Amazon's the only Magnificent Seven stock that I own.
I thought it would have been Tesla.
That's subject to change, of course. Google is still relatively attractively valued and might have a place at some point. But I think that Amazon has one of the widest moats at least in well-known household name stocks that people can just, if you ask the average person on the street to list like 5 publicly traded companies, Amazon would probably be one that comes to mind for a lot of them. And it definitely has what I would call an extreme moat.
Indeed.
Competing with Amazon, it's like, it's like, imagine
try owning Target stock. That's all I gotta say.
Imagining somebody trying to compete with Amazon in e-commerce it's almost laughable.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen the movie Watchmen?
No.
Okay, well there's a scene where there's this like vigilante guy that goes to prison, and all of the people that he the criminals in there that don't like him because he's a vigilante, they're wringing their hands a little bit, and he says to them, "I'm not locked in here with you. You're locked in here with me." And that's kind of the situation of every other company in retail or e-commerce. It's like, you're the ones that have to adapt to the fact that Amazon exists. Amazon doesn't care about your existence, basically.
Yeah.
You're the ones that have to fear Amazon coming to steal your lunch. You're not going to ever go and steal Amazon's lunch. And it's a pretty comfy position to be in. Obviously, like most of their profits don't even come from the e-commerce,
Mhm.
but they do have, I think, 170 million people in the U.S. who are Amazon Prime members.
Mhm.
Somebody fact check me on that. Am I right on that number of memberships? Now, people talk about Costco and their subscription being so great and everything. Well, I think the premier S tier subscription that people have is actually their Amazon Prime membership. I think that is the subscription of subscription.
It's not the Canna Cabana Club membership.
Hey, this is not a knock to the Cabana Club or to the elite, but I do think that Prime membership is one of the most valuable things Amazon has. And what they get with isn't just the money of those users, but also that lovely super valuable data, right? They know what kind of deals to push out to you and to advertise to you.
Your Alexa's always listening to you.
Yeah, that's true. I have noticed that they've been doing a lot more direct advertising, like sending me like deals that they suggest or that they think I'll like. They'll occasionally push a notification through because I have their app on my phone. Like something, and it's something that I browsed on there at some point. They'll be like, "Are you still looking at this?" Or they'll say, "Hey, we noticed that you bought these few things that are kind of related to this one category.
Yeah.
Here's some other similar items." And it's like, honestly, a lot of the time it is like, "Oh, that is kind of cool." And it will kind of get me browsing again. So they're good at it. And I've noticed also on Prime Video that there are now ads. And
yeah, I watched Daddy's Home yesterday. Good movie.
Now, I've noticed there's like a lot of variance between different shows and movies as to how they roll them out. On some of them, they'll like front load it and say, "Hey, this is brought to you, without any additional interruption by these sponsors," and they'll just roll like 3 minutes worth of ads and then play your movie.
Yeah, I like that.
On other ones, though, it's like spaced out, like it's actually on TV or whatever.
I prefer the ones that are all at the beginning.
Yeah, I
I
actually like the front loaded ones because it's a lot more like you're at the movie theater and you're getting the previews and then watching the movie. I don't have a problem with that. Some of the ones where it's kind of inserted throughout, I don't really like the placement a lot of the time.
Oh yeah, it'll be like
It seems like that's a little ham-fisted and stuff. When they first rolled them out, I was only getting the ones like front loaded at the beginning, and I was actually kind of like talking up how unintrusive and well done it was. And I'm walking that back a little bit. I think the ones they insert throughout could be placed a little bit better, but hey, that's just one man's opinion. But the fact is that is a very valuable source of revenue for them. Since 170 or so million, or it might be 180 million. Somebody please fact check me on this.
I'm going to do that right now.
There's an awful lot of people that have Amazon Prime memberships, and with that comes Prime Video. So there's a lot of eyeballs watching Prime Video.
Seymour, I don't know what you mean. I'm looking right now. Did I miss the apostrophe or something? I'm not seeing anything.
He might have meant Diddy's Home. I don't know.
Oh,
I don't know.
Yeah.
Or maybe you got to be careful not to mistype Daddy into Diddy. Yeah. I'm just speculating on what could be happening in a situation like this.
Blake says he would prefer if Amazon would start respecting source material when they adapt something. They destroyed several opportunities.
Is he talking about what? Invincible, The Boys, like?
Dude, you compare that to Disney, what they've done with Star Wars. Oh my god.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely. I mean, I watch those two shows, Invincible and The Boys, and they
made Luke Skywalker gay. They went woke.
They went woke.
That's your portfolio.
right?
Big reveal,
But no,
everybody.
I am curious what specific adaptations that Blake is referring to.
Yeah.
Because I would definitely I would take that on a case by case thing.
How is the dividend taxed on BTI? I believe it's taxed differently.
Okay, so in BTI, I know there is like a small foreign thing that gets taken out. But it's I would call it negligible.
Yeah, it doesn't look.
In fact, I will go into my history and I'll try to find the last BTI dividend I got and actually give you real numbers so that you can decide if that's a
Okay, Blake followed up with the Wheel of Time, the Rings of Power. Both could have been big as Game of Thrones, but they dropped the ball. I don't watch enough TV to understand.
I think the Rings of Power was like a Lord of the Rings thing. I don't know what the Wheel of Time is. They could have been as big as Game of Thrones. Yeah, okay. Yeah, maybe they could have. Okay. So
1 cent, 1 cent a share per quarter.
yeah, that checks out because I got a dividend in November for $305 on BTI, and there was a $4 ADR fee for it. So since 400 shares, $4 would be 1 cent. So yeah, that tracks. So it's like 1.3% of the amount of dividends that I get are taken out in ADR fees, which almost doesn't affect your yield at all because they pay a lot more than 1 cent per share per quarter in dividends.
Yeah. All right, we'll get to my portfolio. We'll go from lowest to highest when it comes to portfolio. Oh, this is actually a good question by no, Zen is Philip Morris, Doug.
Yeah. So Philip Morris. So Altria still has the Philip Morris U.S. cigarette brands, but Philip Morris International has them in the rest of the world. But other than that, other than sharing like Marlboros or basically agreeing to not compete with each other in the cigarette space, they're completely different companies now, basically. Yeah.
All right, we'll start off. 8% of, actually 32% of the portfolio is in either ETFs or cash.
Oh, by the way,
This
you just
could be
reminded
hard,
me.
everybody.
I did forget to point out the cash position in my portfolio. I don't want people to think I'm hiding something from them. 12,700 cash. It was not mentioned, but we do have it.
All right. So SGov is basically my cash position right now. I maybe have like $100 in actual cash, maybe just from a recent sell-off or whatever that I haven't yet put in SGov. But yeah, 11% of the portfolio in that, about $3,700 worth of it.
Yeah, I mean, I think you can count SGov as cash. I think that's fine.
That is currently yielding around like 5%, I think.
Nice.
All right, ETFs. You guys already know the deal with this. My goal is to have it be 25% SHG, 10% SHD, basically getting a slightly better return than VU, hopefully with the higher weighting on SHG. As of right now, though, it is not exactly that because I find it hard to invest a whole lot of money in SHG at this time. I'd like to ideally load up on that 25% on a correction or some sort of reasonable. But I'm still averaging in, so I'm probably buying more SHD these days than SHG, but I'm happy where they're both at right now. SHG is above $4,000. That's fun. Biggest holding right now in the portfolio. All right, smallest holding in the portfolio, Altria. I told you it was small. 1.43% of the portfolio. Currently, I'm up 26%. Yeah, we got it at a good price, around the $40 range. We were pressing the buy on that earlier
That's what
this
you
year.
get. That's what you get for timing the market.
Yeah, that could very well go into BTI though.
If you want Ryan's trade alerts, just $4 a month. That's a joke.
Somebody so the shoe shiner needs to be held accountable. It's getting out of control. But yeah, I've been trimming that for a while now. Very well, that could be sold soon and go into BTI. Not a lot there though. Second largest holdings, unfortunate because I'm up 48% on it, and you're going to see it's a reoccurring theme with some of these, smaller holdings, is that they've gone up a whole lot. TKO Holdings, it's WWE and UFC. I'm just personally a huge fan of both of their brands right now. Not a whole lot of data when it comes to their financials because they recently were the spun off of or merger of two companies. Not a whole lot of info on that, but that is 2.16% of the portfolio. I'd like to buy more, but the valuation is a little not so nicey right now. Next, guys, my throat's about to die out, so become a channel member right now for your appreciation and gratitude. Next, it's none other than High Tide. I'm hoping to get this to 5%, because I can believe it. I believe that it can 2x, 3x, 4x from here. That's a 10, 15% position in the portfolio. I'm happy with that. So currently on High Tide, I'm up 44%, and that's after me averaging up recently. So I'm happy where that's at. Next we have Union Pacific. This has kind of been a dull one in the portfolio, but I'm not like some people on YouTube and don't sell out of these holdings when they aren't going my way in the price. And I'm going to be patient. If the company gets to around $270, that's where I'd like to sell. Right now, I'm just holding on to it, though. That is 2.5% of the portfolio.
Hey, at least railroads aren't going anywhere, right?
Not going anywhere. It's not been the greatest time for railroads as well, so give them a break there. Definitely not adding, though, unless it gets like 200. All right, next we have none other than Target, 3% of the portfolio. I'm probably going to start trimming out of this one at 150 when it gets back there. Just the amount of inconsistencies, the lack of inventory mismanagement has been like disgusting with them. Currently on Target, that is my only stock that I'm in the red on, negative 11%. So thanks a lot, Target. Thanks for nothing. I'm gonna make Dan happy here with this one, none other than McDonald's, and I'm up 33% on McDonald's right now, 3.3% of the portfolio. Kind of don't know what I'm doing with this one, just holding on for now, but don't be surprised. SHG goes on a 10-15% correction. McDonald's could totally be getting sold. I think during a crash, a McDonald's is probably going to be pretty fine when it comes to like performance. So that very well could be one of those holdings that during a correction, crash, whatever you want to call it, I could be selling out of that, putting it into a better opportunity. Next, we have Apple, which is no longer one of the top holdings. I've been selling out of that recently. That is only 3.5% of the portfolio. It was around 10% a few months ago. So been trimming out of that one recently. I trimmed some more this week. 248. I remember buying it at 170. So that's been a nice little short, medium-term trade there. Didn't mean for it to be, but valuations just not correlating with the growth. Next, we have another one, Disney.
That's one of the ones we share.
Oh, Apple, by the way, is up 58%. Figure I'd mention that. Disney, I'm slightly in the green on that. I may or may not have bought it at $180. So I'm going to say there. Ryan's learned his lesson, and he got it in at a much better price. And Disney is still riding strong in the portfolio, and hopefully we see some more gains from here.
Where do you think Disney is going to where do you see them going in 2025? What's your 12-month price target, Ryan?
12-month price target, Disney will end up at $143.75.
That's not financial advice.
Not financial advice, everybody, unless you're a channel member. $4 a month, by the way. But yeah, Disney, fun holding. I probably would average down below my cost basis, so 2.5%. Maybe I'll average more in. At this market condition, probably that would make sense.
Yeah, so you're pretty close to like just like kind of breaking even on Disney, huh?
Yeah, it's been a long journey.
Yeah. Didn't
I
you
bought-
start though like really high on them, like 180 and then average down or something?
Yeah, like 188 maybe. It was
Yeah.
bad.
I mean, it's cool. It's awesome that you've gotten your average down to this level because this is, I
know.
think, still pretty cheap for Disney, to be honest. with you.
It's impressive. Real man's investing. Some certain YouTube channels couldn't do that ever. Next we have Amazon, relatively newer holding, but we've seen some crazy gains on it, up 26%, which is wild. 6.18% of the portfolio. I'm very happy with this. I love Amazon.
Them Bezos bucks are cheating you well.
Yeah. Another Mag 7 here. This was one of my best performers, but I've just not been buying in a while. Up 85% from where I bought in. It is none other than Microsoft at 8.37%. Microsoft rules the world. That's all I'm going to say. Valuation, though, right now, not the greatest compared to where I got in, but I'm happy where it's at. I'll say that.
Yeah. Yeah. Microsoft, they're strong. What are you going to do?
Yeah. All right. Next, we have another holding that I've been adding to recently, which a certain finance channel, not to be named, Joseph sorry, on Twitter, as predicted, is looking to sell out of this REIT because the stock price is not gone where he wants it to go. I think that's a little sad, and that screams blood in the water for me. Right now, though, definitely a bit of I think it's undervalued compared to where its AFFO growth is at. I think around $38, $40 fair price for them, so I can see some nice gains there. Right now in this market, I think that's one of the best opportunities, so I'll take it there. 8.46% of the portfolio. Next, it is none other than Starbucks. I am the Starbucks cult leader. Let that be known. That is 9.53% of the portfolio. Currently have 12.36% on Starbucks. I'd be looking to sell out of my Starbucks probably around that 22%, 22% mark. Probably $110. I'd start to look to trim potentially. Definitely not the same as it used to be. I'll say that.
They're good at communicating value, though.
Yeah, Laxman took one for the team. I want to see some fundamental change with Brian Nickel. And yes, I am making a Starbucks how I would fix the business. Like if I were to go into CEO, that's coming soon. Biggest holding, highest conviction probably besides Microsoft at a good value. Visa stock ticker V. 11.19% of the portfolio. I absolutely loaded the deck with this company this summer. But it was fair value, and I just went all in. Cash flows are as reliable as they get. Consistent dividend increases, share buybacks. I love it with Visa. That is my portfolio right now. I want to get back. I'm going to trim probably 5 more positions, but I like where it's at right now.
Yeah. I mean, we share a few. Amazon, Disney, and High Tide. They're the ones that are that we hold in common. Maybe BTI soon.
Oh, it very well could be this week. Apologies for the short analytics. My throat is like about to die out here, everybody. This is like not bullish at all.
Yep. Oh, by the way, I've got a new thing on the wall.
I noticed.
Yeah, that's an X-Men 97 metal poster from Displate.
We need more. We need more stuff in the background.
Yeah. I'm. It's a work in progress.
We need like a copy of Strongman's book.
Stop being a broke loser. Yeah, I could.
We got to get that. We'll do it for Christmas. Well, right there, $10 we got from the donation.
Yeah, I'm still working on it. I've got some more posters and stuff I want to get and everything that sort of display my personality and my passions. So
yeah, we need to give the people a selling point. Hour 14 in Fiscal, I think it was a successful stream. Transparent stream.
Transparency. That's the name of the game.
Well, thank you, Blake. I know I love that phrase too. Great question from Alan. How many yield max funds do you two own? As many times as Kamara has actually finished on his wife.
To quote Greg Doucette, a zero.
Zero.
A zero.
Did you see he made an natty or not on the Louis the Killer that shot the United?
I saw that he made one. I did not watch it.
Yeah, I didn't watch it either. Any energy stocks? Probably not. Maybe during a crash, but that's you have to time it really well.
Yeah.
All right, fun stream. Next week we have Arya and a special guest or two. You'll have to be there to see it. The Uber intervention. It's going to be our last show before Christmas. Then I think the show after that is the. I think that's
Quote of the
the
year?
comment and quote of the year. So with Dividend Dude, that's going to be best show of the year. I think one of the best.
It's always good to have a strong finish, as they say.
Yes, Kamara could take a lesson there. All right. Thank you all so much for watching once again. Appreciate it. Find us on Twitter. Repost our stuff at Cashflow Kings YT.
By the
My
way,
channel.
follow on X. If you guys are watching and not following, what the hell are you doing?
Yes, I know. We post out good stuff there too. Like there's this new thing on Twitter where you can like do AI generated photos. Giving me that, it's like giving a monkey a machine gun. It shouldn't be allowed. All right. Thank you all for watching. Smash the like button, subscribe, do dividends, stocks, not drugs, and of course, cash flow is king. Oh,